Last New Year's, my husband and I went downtown to see our city's midnight fireworks show. We took an Uber from our house so we could have a few drinks and enjoy ourselves for the celebration. The fireworks show was as pretty as always, and afterwards, we were having such a great time that we decided to stay out later. We got some delicious hot dogs from a street vendor and had a couple more drinks. Then we partied the night away until it was 2 in the morning, and the whole event was wrapping up. We were some of the last people to leave, so it took a while to get another Uber home. It was really late when we finally got in, and I was beat. All I wanted to do was crash on the bed and fall asleep next to my husband. However, when we got into the bedroom, he locked the door and refused to lay down, which made me think he was about to try something else. It took me a moment to realize that nothing like that was on his mind. He stared at me with a really unsettling look on his face and said, "I'm hungry. Let's go get some food." "Huh? You're crazy. We just ate an hour ago." "Well, I'm hungry again. Let's go out." "Just eat something in the house." "No, I have a craving. I need tacos from that one place." At first, I thought he was being ridiculous. The hot dogs we got from that guy on the street were huge and piled with toppings. Nobody could be hungry after eating one of those unless they had the munchies. But I knew that all we had was a few drinks. The more I got annoyed with him and tried to convince him to stay inside, the more adamant he became in return that we had to go back out, all the way downtown. At one point, he ordered another Uber while I was still in bed. I got mad at him for spending money on a ride I didn't want to take, but he didn't return the anger. He started begging me to go like it was the most important thing in his life. I could hear it in his voice that he was being serious, even though it still didn't make any sense. I had never heard him grovel like that before under any circumstances. That's when I gave up and put my shoes back on. But even after I agreed to go out with my husband again, he was still on edge about something. I was worried that it had become some kind of stupid fight. It was New Year's night, and we were supposed to be having a good time. No bickering with each other. That wasn't the way I wanted to start the year off. Unfortunately, in the back of my head, I knew something was up with him, but I didn't have a clue what it was. He wouldn't take his eyes off me the whole time we waited for the Uber, and he just stood there like a statue until it was waiting for us outside. When it was finally there, he grabbed my hand and barged through the bedroom door. We rushed out of the house like we were late for our own wedding, except he dragged me out the back door instead of going out the front, which was much closer. Once outside, we walked around the side of the house and climbed into the Uber. As the Uber drove off, my husband stared at our house through the window until it was out of sight. Once he was sure we were gone, he said something I'll never forget. I wasn't hungry. There was a man in the house." I fell silent in disbelief when he told me everything. He said the man was naked and wearing a mask, and that we had walked right past him in the dark. I didn't actually believe any of it was true, but my husband called the cops and told the Uber to let us out on the sidewalk. We waited down the street from our house until the cops arrived and searched it. The man was gone by the time they arrived. For a moment, everybody thought my husband was crazy, and I almost did too, until he pulled up the footage from the camera we have at our front door. What I saw made my blood run cold. There we were, stumbling in through the door and going straight to the bedroom without bothering to turn on the light. And right behind us in the corner was the man my husband saw, naked except for a mask, and holding a knife in his hand. We were completely oblivious to him when he was just inches away. He could have taken us by surprise, and we wouldn't have stood a chance in the state we were in. My husband said he only saw the man right as we were going into the bedroom and looking back to make sure he locked the door. That's why he was so disturbed when he locked us in the bedroom. I'm thankful that he kept his cool and was able to get me out of the house without setting me or the intruder off. It's also a good thing we had a couple cameras in the house to prove that he was there. Otherwise, it's possible nobody would ever believe my husband. We only had a few at the time, but of course, we have total coverage inside and out now. The one thing I still don't understand after all this time is why that creep didn't do anything. Maybe he just wanted to sneak in and watch, or maybe when the time came to attack us, he couldn't work up the courage. My husband tells me not to spend too much time and energy trying to understand the thoughts of a crazy person, but I can't help it. Maybe if the creep had ever been apprehended, I wouldn't worry so much. Unfortunately, he's still at large, and probably still sneaking around the dark corners of people's houses, for whatever sick and twisted reason he has. On December 31st, 2015, an Alabama couple found something really creepy going on outside their home. They discovered a man with no clothes, wearing only a Ronald Reagan rubber mask, wandering around outside their home. The nude man had just entered the breezeway of the house when he was discovered by Danielle Yancey and her husband Bart. Once they noticed him, they began yelling at him, prompting the man to flee away. The couple were later able to show police surveillance footage of the suspect, but cops were never able to find the naked Ronald Reagan.